Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my top 10 favorite animated TV shows of all time. So, I love animation. It is one of my favorite mediums in all of media. And I'm always getting questions about TV. And I thought that I would go ahead and do two videos about my favorites when it comes to television, because if I'm being honest, I'm not all that well versed in TV. And that will show in these two countdowns that I'm putting together. First up, we do have the animation category. And as you will notice, as I go through my list, I have not been up to date in animated television in probably about 10 years. So many fan favorites will not be showing up on this list. I know they have huge fan bases. I'm sure they are fantastic. They are wonderful. I just struggle getting into new TV shows. So the shows that are included, a lot come from my childhood. Some come from things that I still love today. And they all are shows that I just love, and that's why they are included here. So this is the list of my personal top 10 favorite animated TV shows of all time. It's not necessarily the best animated TV shows, but ones that I have continued to love, that made the most impact on me growing up and as an adult. So without further ado, let's kick things off. At number 10, I have The Wild Thornberrys. I've always been an animal lover. Ever since I was a tiny little child, I've loved animals. I've been fascinated by them. I just loved to research them. And the concept of this family who goes on these adventures with animals, even has an animal that goes on the adventures with them, seemed amazing. And I wanted to be Eliza Thornberry so much, who was able to talk to the animals and communicate with them, become friends with them. And this show just really hit home for me. Our main character was compassionate, empathetic, as well as intelligent. The entire family was warm and fun. Everybody was funny. I just loved the Wild Thornberrys, and so I put it in my top 10. At number 9, I have Scooby-Doo, as in the original Scooby-Doo series. I haven't, again, watched any of the new series or seasons that they've released, but who didn't love Scooby-Doo? Who doesn't love Scooby-Doo? Truly iconic. Last year I got a group costume together. I dressed up as Fred, although Fred is not necessarily my favorite character. But as a horror fan from a young age, Scooby-Doo is like the perfect medium for kids wanting a little bit of scary in their life. As is another animation coming up here soon. But it was always such a fun mystery. The gang is such an awesome group of characters that is really diverse in personality types. So we always had somebody to latch on to. And who didn't just love that big old Great Dane solving mysteries? At number 8, I have the Looney Tunes. Again, I'm speaking mostly of the original run of the Looney Tunes series. I don't know if it actually is running currently on air, but Bugs Bunny has always, just long been one of my favorite characters in all of media. He is so funny, so witty, so inventive, and he even rocks that drag at times. Bugs Bunny is an amazing character and a big reason why I've always loved the Looney Tunes. They exemplify old school cartoon making for me. They have the big, over the top, ridiculous violence that nobody ever gets hurt in. But what really shines through on the Looney Tunes is as loony and as crazy as they are, it's such smart and intelligent writing that really hooks you in. Each of these characters is so well developed and so well written that that's why it's an animation that has really stood the test of time and has maintained as one of the most iconic cartoons of all time. At number 7, I have Courage the Cowardly Dog. Again, I was a kid who loved horror. Poltergeist was one of my first favorite films ever. And Courage the Cowardly Dog was like the horror cartoon for people like me. There were such scary, crazy things that were put into Courage the Cowardly Dog. And again, I'm an animal lover, so seeing this little dog running around solving all of these things was so much fun. Plus, the two human characters were wonderful. I thought the animation was great. All of the different scare type things were amazing. I just loved Courage. I watched all of the episodes as a kid. It was definitely a defining show of my childhood. At number 6, I have Batman, the animated series. What a sophisticated animation. This is definitely part of like the holy grail of superhero animated TV shows. And to many people, this is the best one of them all. Now, it's not quite my favorite, as you'll come to see, but I loved Batman the Animated Series. I loved the film, The Mask of the Phantasm, that came out of this series. Of course, we got the iconic voice work in the film and in the series. The animation is absolutely stunning. I think this series got Batman so right as a character where so many of the films just couldn't seem to quite catch that balance. It was thrilling. Again, it was so intelligent in its writing. There's very little technically wrong with this series. It really is iconic for a reason. At number 5, I have Dexter's Laboratory. Now, this was my favorite cartoon when it was running. I love Dexter's Lab, another series that I think is really witty, really funny, and very smartly written. Dexter as a character is the right amount of sarcastic, but still so intelligent, and yet still so naive as a child is. All of his inventions, his interactions with Dee Dee, it all just worked for me. So I love Dexter's Lab. It's number 5. At number 4, I have the Powerpuff Girls. Now, this only includes the original run. I didn't even bother with that new reboot that they did, and didn't hear good things, and didn't want to put myself through that. But the original Powerpuff Girls was amazing. First, the concept is just so great, but we have 3 wonderful characters at the heart of this. Really 4, because the professor is also a wonderful character. Each girl has their own distinct personality, their own distinct struggles that they have to overcome to be these heroic little superheroes that they are. They have the professor, who is an awesome person. This features some of the most iconic villains within animation, starring, of course, Mojo Jojo. But it was fun, it was funny, there was so much cool action. I just loved the Powerpuff Girls. And I also dressed up as Blossom too, so lots of costumes coming out of my animation love. At number 3, I have Pokemon. Now, this series spawned a phase that has never stopped in my life. I love Pokemon to this day. However, there are external factors that come with my Pokemon love, including games, including outside work, the films themselves. I just love Pokemon as a property, and as a property, it's probably my number 1 on this list. However, for the show itself, I loved the show for so many years, and then I kind of fell off as it continues to go on. I catch an episode here, catch an episode there, try to know at least what's going on when they introduce these new generations. But it's really those first like 3 or 4 seasons that I absolutely adored. I loved the first 3 movies as well. I also loved the new movie that came out this past year. Pikachu is definitely in my top 2 favorite animated TV show characters of all time. He's so adorable. He's so amazing. Obviously, the powers of all the Pokemon is amazing. One of the best theme songs for that first season ever. The Pokemon rap is amazing. I had to watch Pokemon every single week, following Ash's journey, playing the games as I watched him go through these gyms as well. What an immersive experience, an amazing experience, and clearly it continues to go strong as a property, so they're still doing something right. But it's number 3 for me personally. At number 2, I have Rugrats. Another insanely intelligent show, and it's a show about babies, but they have so much smart work put into this series. The animation's a little bit funny looking, but still somehow super endearing. They tackle such tough issues that, of course, as a kid, you're not really realizing, but once you revisit as an adult, you're like, wow, this is a really sophisticated show that I think maybe gets overlooked in the themes that it deals with. Plus, as a kid, how can you not connect with these babies going on these adventures, creating these worlds, and just creating playtime in the most fun way possible? Plus, I loved Spike. You love the adult characters in here as well. It's inventive. I really enjoyed both of those first two films that the Rugrats released. It's something that I own on DVD now and I will occasionally revisit. I just loved the Rugrats. It was a huge shaping series of my childhood, and that's why I had to have it all the way up at number 2. So before I jump into my number 1 pick, I have some honorable mentions that I wanted to just quickly highlight. The Animaniacs was another insanely intelligent, fun, sporadic, great cartoon that I just adored growing up. Rocket Power, I think, is one of the most underrated shows. I loved these characters, I loved the extreme sports, and it was just a lot of fun. Futurama is one that I'm not as big a fan as others are, but it's undeniable the impact this has had on culture as well as the intelligent writing. This is my favorite of all of the adult-aimed animated shows that I've ever seen. The Flintstones, a classic that had such amazing classic themes about family, and of course, who doesn't want pet dinosaurs? Ren and Stimpy borders on adult cartoons. It is a little bit gross out. That's why revisiting it, I was like, oh my. But it's still very funny, very iconic, and has really great gags. Finally, Cat Dog was such a weird concept, but one I thought was very hilarious as a child. One that worked so well, having these two opposite characters connected to each other, that provided some great hijinks. So, at number 1, my favorite animated television show of all time is X-Men, the animated series. I love X-Men as a property. I always have. They have always been my favorite superhero property. And I have to say, that majorly started with the television show. The TV animated series is what introduced me to want to go read all of the comics and just fully immerse myself and delve into this insane world. Storm is my number 1 absolute favorite superhero out of all of the heroes, and that started right here with the animated series. And if you didn't guess it, she's my favorite animated character of all time. I love you, Storm. But compared to the films, compared to all of the animated series that came after it, nothing has captured those comic books as well as this original animated series did in the 90s. One of the most iconic, most amazing opening sequences of all time. That theme song is just stellar. This show also had amazing writing. The interpersonal connections and relationships between these superheroes was absolutely fantastic. And the action, the superhero action, was outstanding. I think it goes as an underrated TV series. For me, it was definitely the most influential in all of my life. I frequently will go back and rewatch the animated series. And that's why I have it as my number 1 favorite TV animation of all time. So that is my list. Those are my 10 favorite animated TV shows. What did you think of my list? And more importantly, what are your favorite animated shows? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. Also, if you like this video, make sure to hit like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!